Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. Welcome if this is your first time here. So I'm doing I guess you can call it a healing energy reading, where basically I'll be giving you some sort of closure when it comes to a connection that you're having a hard time closing out. And I got the intuitive download to do this reading last night. Like literally, like when I was in bed, it just kind of hit me that some people needed messages about how to close out a certain cycle. There's a lot of chaos surrounding the cycle, or there's a lot of confusion. And I know that people say all the time, you don't need any type of closure from anyone but yourself, and I agree with that to a certain extent, but there's no denying that when there is not clarity, or when something ends abruptly, or when there was a lot of confusion about something that you were emotionally invested in, sometimes it's very hard to kind of move forward. So I'm hoping that with this reading, it'll give you some sort of clarity and clear up any type of confusion, and that will kind of help you to, take the first step towards letting the situation go and moving forward. So this could be for a romantic partner. This could be for a family member that you had a falling out with, a friend. This could be like a job that you got fired from suddenly. Just kind of take it as it resonates. It's going to be different for different people. So yeah, let's jump right into it. I'm first going to give you the messages about your energy, and then we're going to move on to their energy, and then I'm going to actually extend this video as well. So for those of you who want very, very in-depth messages, then you could check out the extended. So let's start with your energy first. We have the existence card, we have the beyond illusion card, and we have the slowing down card. Okay. So with the beyond illusion card, this lets me know that a lot of you are trying to figure out what took place in this connection mentally. Like, it seems to me that this person or this situation is no longer in your physical reality, so you are trying hard to figure it out mentally. Like, you're going back in your head about it, thinking about what took place, thinking about what was real, what was fake, trying to figure out, like, did my own emotions just cause me to create illusions, or was this connection actually what I thought it was? Like, just really trying to figure it out. That's why I said I'm just sensing a lot of chaos, like a lot of chaotic thoughts, not being able to just have that clarity that a lot of us seek. I feel like for a lot of you, you're also trying to figure out what you were meant to learn from the connection. I think that when you stop and think about the lesson, then it sort of feels like it's easier to move on, because then it's like the connection wasn't in vain. Like, I learned something from it. So you could be trying to take that route of figuring out what you actually learned from it, or what the point of the connection was. I'm hearing that some of you are wondering, like, if the connection went south or went bad, you're kind of wondering, like, what did I do to deserve this? And I'm hearing from Spirit that you didn't do anything to deserve it necessarily, so don't take that stance, because that's also going to kind of hinder your healing process, is what I'm hearing. With the existence card being here, I'm hearing that a lot of you are kind of lost when it comes to like life, like your sense of direction, your purpose in life. And I think that this situation or this connection is one that is actually leading you on the path to what you're meant to be doing, or what you are meant to be, what's the word? The things that are going to fulfill you in life, believe it or not, this connection or this experience is leading you directly to them. I feel like you thought this connection was fulfilling to you, but on a deep level, it actually wasn't. And because of everything that took place, it's actually leading you to the things that are going to be fulfilling for you. And I feel like we'll get more messages about that later as I get more in depth. But I'm also seeing the slowing down card. So a lot of you right now do feel like you are somewhat at a standstill. It's hard for you to kind of just push forward, and I think that's a good thing, because if you were to just kind of push forward and rush into the next stage of your life, I feel like you would miss very, very valuable information that you're meant to get from this connection. So it's a good thing that you're doing a lot of reflecting. Like, sometimes when we cannot get past something and we're continuously reflecting on it, it's because internally we know, or intuitively we know, that there's something that's meant to be seen. And for a lot of people, when they rush forward and they don't take the time to figure out what took place, that's when they end up repeating a cycle over and over again. So if you feel like you've been stuck for a long time, don't beat yourself up, because I feel like if you would have rushed forward and just kind of said, like, forget about it, you would have went headfirst into the same exact situation, except with a different person. So it's a good thing that you have been kind of like slowed down when it comes to this connection and kind of thinking about it, especially with the retrograde taking place, the Mercury retrograde. I mean, specifically, I think multiple planets are in retrograde right now, if I'm not mistaken. But with the Mercury retrograde, I feel like that's especially kind of drawing your mind back to the past or things that have taken place in the past. And I feel like that's not a bad thing. Like I said, if you were to rush forward, you would miss a lot of valuable information. But I do feel your frustration, because some of you are frustrated that it's taking so long to move forward. And that's probably why you are, you know, coming across this video, because this could be like the catalyst for you to finally get that clarity and that closure. And then, you know, you could possibly move forward from there. All right, so that's an overview of your energy. I'm going to pull cards for what took place in the connection. Okay, so the cards that I pulled for what took place in this connection, we have the Schizophrenia card, the Flowering card, and the We Are the World card. Okay, so I feel like in the beginning of whatever this connection was, you did have somewhat of an intuitive, your intuition, I guess I should say, telling you that there's something off about this. I feel like you had a moment of hesitation when you came across this person, or they have shown signs in the past that something is off, or like that something is just not right. Like your body could have been having a strong reaction to them that you kind of just shrugged off. Like, you know, when you meet someone and you automatically get anxious, that sort of energy. I feel like you kind of just brushed it off, because on the surface, it looked like there was nothing to worry about. Like you probably could have been second guessing yourself, like, you know, well, I don't really see anything wrong, even though I kind of feel it. And that's something that could be a lesson in this as well, is that sometimes our body is definitely warning us that maybe something is not going to go well, and we have to learn how to trust our body sometimes. Of course, that can be confusing, especially for those of you who have had situations in the past that have been hurtful. We can start to really second guess our inner compass. Like we can start to say like, okay, maybe I'm just anxious because I've been hurt in the past, so maybe this person is not going to hurt me. Maybe that anxiety I'm feeling is from the past. And a good way for you to kind of decipher, or at least this is how I do it, to decipher whether it's your fear or your intuition, is that fear is usually extremely loud. Like it's extremely, like it kind of yells at you, like, you know, you get very paranoid, your body goes into fight or flight. That's usually your fear, right? And fear can be valid too. Like fear is going to keep you away from, you know, certain things. Like that's what fear is, you know, meant to do, is to kind of warn you that something is dangerous because it mimics something from your past that hurt you. You see what I'm saying? But intuition is kind of different, because intuition has very little to do with things that have happened in your past. Intuition is kind of just what we're born with, like that inner compass that we're born with. And so your intuition can warn you about things, even if it has nothing to do with your past. Like you could be a perfectly, have like a perfectly normal, healthy life, right? And your intuition will still warn you about things. But if you're someone who's experienced like past trauma, then your fear will usually warn you about things that mimic your past trauma. You see what I'm saying? So I feel like when you are meeting new people and you're trying to decipher between, okay, is this my fear because of past issues, or is this my intuition? Think about whether it's really loud and like blaring at you, or if it's really soft and kind of like it's barely there. Like your intuition, it's almost like you can miss it very easily. Like there's been someone I've met in the past who my intuition was so subtle. It was just saying like, stay away from this person. Like it was very like soft, subtle, and I just kept like brushing it off. Like my fight or flight, my body didn't go into fight or flight mode. There was no fear like blaring in my head, paranoia, but my intuition, because I've never met anyone like him before, and I never had any like past and there was no past trauma that was coming to the surface when I met him, because he didn't really mimic people from my past that had hurt me. See what I'm saying? But my intuition was still active and still telling me like, something's off, something's wrong, but it was so subtle that I could easily ignore it. And that's why a lot of people can't even access their intuition, because there's so much like busy day-to-day things that we're going through that we don't ever have time to sit and actually sit with our inner compass. And that's why a lot of people only hear their intuition when they meditate, when they pray, or when they are like taking a walk in nature, or taking a shower. Like that's when, or taking like a bath, that's when, you know, we really can connect with that inner intuitive guidance, but it's very subtle. So long story short, if you want to, if you meet someone, the fear that they're mimicking a past situation, it could be valid. That could mean, you know, to keep your heads up. But if you still want to proceed, because you want to see like if this person is different, kind of connect to your intuition and pay attention to what your intuition is telling you. So, okay, that was pretty long, but I feel like I explained it thoroughly. But like I said, with this person, yeah, I feel like your intuition kind of told you like something's up, but I feel like also for some of you, your fear was telling you that like this person is mimicking someone from your past as well, but you could have just kind of shrugged it off, brushed it off, and kind of went forward. This person could have been a bit manipulative, so they could have been kind of like creating some sort of illusion, and that wouldn't shock me because people who usually have good intentions, they usually will give you closure. Right? Like it's very rare that someone who's a good person, good intentions, who actually cares about you, it's kind of rare that you would have to look up these types of readings or come across these types of readings, because those types of people will usually give you closure and clarity. Like you could usually call them and say, can we just talk about what took place? I just need closure, and then they will give it to you. But if it's someone who's a little bit manipulative, or maybe someone who doesn't have the best intentions, or possibly someone who's very avoidant, and that's very triggering to you, then yeah, you're not going to get the closure from them. So I feel like that's what your intuition was kind of telling you in the beginning. The flowering card is here, so I do feel like this person did make you feel very beautiful. It's something about their words, or it's something about the way that they, how do I explain what I'm seeing? Because I'm getting different messages for different people. For some of you, it was their words that kind of made you feel beautiful in a way that other people couldn't, or a way that you couldn't make yourself feel. Because I feel like you could have been trying to, build self-esteem and things of that sort, but it could be difficult for you. But when this person comes and kind of like points out everything good in you, it kind of makes you feel good about yourself. For some of you, this person overall was just being in a connection with them was something that made you feel good. It's something about them that you could admire their traits a lot. And so when you're with them, it's almost like you get that confidence just by being in close proximity with them. For some of you, though, this person felt that way about you. So it could be vice versa, that when they're in your presence, they felt better about themselves. So you could have been boosting like their ego as well, and like complimenting them a lot, or giving them a lot of attention. It's something along those lines. Nothing wrong with that when it comes to relationships. Of course, you're supposed to make each other feel good, make each other feel beautiful. But obviously, with the schizophrenia card being there, that means that there was something off balance about this, meaning that either you or the other person didn't have the ability to make yourselves feel beautiful, and so it was kind of like being dependent on one another, or you depending on them, or they depending on you to make you feel beautiful, which can cause some sort of imbalance, because you have to be able to do that within yourself first, so that you won't rely on another person to be that inner beauty for you, or to be the crux of your confidence, I guess I should say. I'm also hearing with the flowering card that things were progressing nicely, or they appeared to be progressing quite nicely. Like things were growing, feelings were growing, happiness was growing, like the feeling of joy, it was like kind of getting better and better with time, is what I'm seeing. I'm going to pull one more for that. Just want to be very clear about that. Oh, okay. All right. I got that message backwards. Okay, so what I'm hearing is that when it comes to like healthy connections, they'll usually start out with you being very attracted to each other, and then it'll get better with time. I feel like with this connection, the opposite could have happened. Like it started out with a big bang, and then it just started getting worse with time, is what I'm hearing. The We Are the World card is also here, so you could have met this person on the internet. I don't know why I always read the We Are the World card as the internet. I'm hearing, okay, the understandings card is in reverse, so a lot of misunderstandings that go along with what I was saying about things getting worse and worse. Like things started out with like a bang, like a lot of fire, a lot of passion, and things just looking like it's going to be the best connection in the world. And then I feel like it's just a lot of misunderstandings started taking place, a lot of discrepancies, what I'm hearing. So finding out things that you didn't originally know, like they could have presented certain information to you originally, and then you find out later on that it's the exact opposite. Like, for example, I've read about people who they met someone online, and the person is like, yeah, I have a sister who has cancer, and they garner sympathy from that, and then later on you find out that not only do the sister not have cancer, they don't even have a sister, like that sort of thing. Like, well, it doesn't have to be that major, but yeah, there were some things that started out in the beginning as, okay, I understand clearly who this person is. I see their character. And then next thing you know, it's like, okay, do I even know you? Because then certain things just don't start adding up. Yeah, like I said with the We Are the World card, you could have met this person online, met this person on the internet. Also, that's another thing that you have to be very careful of, because people can present themselves to be a certain way on the internet. It's always different when you actually meet it's always different to get to know someone in person, because you can actually sense their energy, especially for those of you who are very sensitive to energy. You may want to spend time with people one-on-one and build that connection offline, because you'll be able to really, really sense their energy, and your intuition will be able to really tell you about that person even more strongly. So just take that into consideration. A lot of people fall in love with people over the internet, and they don't feel their vibe until when they're in person, they're already captivated by the person because they've already, fell in love online. So yeah, just try your best not to get emotionally attached to people that you meet on the internet until you you're actually able to spend time around them and to sense their energy, especially if you are a person who is very highly sensitive. So, all right, so we're going to move on into that person's energy now. Oh, I have one more message. With the We Are the World card, I was also hearing that some of you could have been feeling very disconnected from the world when you met this person. So that's why they, when they came into your life, they gave you a sense of almost like community, or they felt like home to you in some way. So that's something else to be mindful of. Sometimes when you're in isolation, or you are just having a rough time connecting with people, or you feel misunderstood, it can be easy to kind of latch on to someone who makes you feel understood. And there's nothing wrong with someone coming along and making you feel understood and you building a friendship with them. But sometimes, like I said, you can kind of latch on to them, which can, lead to you not having the proper judgment call about them. It's like a known fact that people who have large support systems, who genuinely love them and care about them, they are less likely to be abused. That's why abusers, and I'm not saying this person abused you, I'm just giving this example. That's why abusers like to isolate people from their support systems and their families, because then, they can kind of do whatever they want to them. So if you are in, a time in your life where you feel like you have no support and you have no family atmosphere, you want to be very mindful. You would think that, that's the time where you want to just dive in and then meet new people and just, create that for yourself. But that's not the right time to do that. It's not. You have to be very careful at a time where you feel very disconnected from people, because it can cloud your judgment about who you let into your life now, All right, yeah, so we're going to move on to this person's energy. Okay, so in terms of this person's energy, I am sensing very strong past life soulmate energy between you two, which in the next week I'm going to be uploading a pick a card reading about past life soulmates, so be on the lookout for that. But yeah, like I said, I feel a very strong past life connection between you two. In terms of, how this person saw you or felt about you in the past, when you first met each other, I feel like one of the main reasons you were drawn towards each other spiritually was because there was some lacking of self-awareness. This person has things going on inside of them that they are not aware of. They are just kind of going through the motions and, jumping from one connection to the next. And I'm not saying they're in a new connection, take it as it resonates, but they're kind of like most people, how we don't stop and reflect. We are just kind of playing out a bunch of unconscious patterns. So there's things within us that we don't realize it's there until we come across a certain person, and then we realize, oh, I have to fix that about myself. So this person was lacking self-awareness, and you were the perfect person to bring awareness to whatever patterns were going on inside of them that they did not realize that they had. Now, it's different things for different people. So for some of you, this could be mission accomplished. They see themselves very clearly now that they've interacted with you. For some of you, they don't, because there's just going to be those people who just don't wake up no matter what. But like I said, just take it as it resonates. But I feel like that was the tie or the draw, or what drew you in to each other. For some of you, I'm hearing that this person has a habit of kind of hurting people. I'm seeing a chameleon, so it could be that they kind of whatever person they're with or whatever group they're in at the moment, they kind of adapt to that group to fit in. And so they're not being very authentic at times, and I don't know if this is like on purpose or not, if it's malicious or not. It could be different for different people, but I do feel like it has ended up hurting people. Like when people find out that, you know, you're not being completely genuine or honest with them, yeah, it's hurtful. It feels like betrayal. So for some of them, that's kind of what they do, and they've been creating a lot of bad karma for themselves. I feel like if they were wise, they would take this connection with you and see the ways that they've been hurting people and hurting themselves, you know, inadvertently, and they would use this as a opportunity to no longer do the things they were doing, because it was creating bad karma for them. This thing that they do where they kind of like manipulate people, and I feel like I said, I don't know if it's malicious or not. Some people are just very, very, very insecure, very like just not proud of who they are, and so they put on a facade, you know, to get people to like them. But it's like you can't take that too far. All of us wear a mask to a certain extent, but you can't take it too far to the point where people feel bamboozled by you when they figure out who you actually are. You know what I'm saying? Because then that's when you are causing people to feel this sense of betrayal, or you're causing people to feel like, damn, maybe I just can't even trust people. Like you're playing with people's minds and their trust factor. So that creates bad karma. And I feel like that's what this person was doing. And, like I said, if they were wise, they would make sure or they would use this connection with you as an opportunity to see themselves fully so that they don't keep doing that. Let me pull one more. Yeah, and this person, I feel like you were also someone who, they were trying to, I think, forget about their past. You could have met them, and for some of you, it's going to be different. I'm getting a lot of different messages. For some of you, you met this person and they were just getting out of or over something else, and you could have been the person that helped them get over it. That's not to say that they did not have genuine feelings, or, you know, I'm not saying that. It's going to be different for different people, but I feel like for some of you, you are someone who just likes to try your best to heal people or help people get over things. So I feel like this person could have been drawn to that aspect of you. You helped them get over, or they were trying to get over something from their past. And I feel like you helped them to an extent, but again, everything that's going on, that's been going on in their past has a lot to do with what's going on with them internally. So even if they did forget about their past, like while you were in the connection with each other, that those wounds and those patterns were still there. So those things just ended up popping up in your connection is what I'm seeing. With the understanding card being here in the reverse, I do feel like in the present moment, this person feels misunderstood. And I feel some of you roll your eyes. I felt some of you roll your eyes like, oh my God. So for some of you, you could have been dealing with someone who like always plays the victim. Like, oh, I'm just really misunderstood. No one understands me. But in reality, a lot of the things they're doing, they're bringing it on themselves, is what I'm hearing. All they have to do is change the way that they operate or the way that they do things, but they first have to come to some sort of self-awareness. So they're feeling misunderstood. This person could have ghosted you, possibly. I feel like I should do another reading. Comment down below if you want me to do another reading specifically about ghosting, because I just heard that. Because this doesn't have to be ghosting. This could be just something fell apart. But yeah, like I said, this person is feeling very misunderstood, and just kind of feeling like not misunderstood just by you, but by everyone or by a lot of people. Let me pull one more. Also, they are kind of not understanding what went wrong. For some of them, they're feeling like you changed. Weird. Compromise card being here. Yeah, they're feeling like you changed. Some of them are not seeing what they did in the situation. It's almost like they're kind of just focusing on the things that you did, or the things that you made them do, quote unquote. Like, oh, I wouldn't have done that if they wouldn't have done that. Like, they're not really taking much accountability or responsibility. It's kind of like like I said, like the victim complex almost a little bit. Yeah, this person wants... Okay, sorry about that. I had to pause the audio for a second. But like I was saying, I feel like the compromise card is coming up here. So this person, it's almost like they would be willing to be reconnected with you if you would be willing to compromise, but not in a healthy way. They would want you to compromise in a way that's like not they call the shots, but kind of like you wouldn't call them out on anything you would have to bend a lot. So it would be an unhealthy compromise to where you're getting the short end of the stick. I feel like that's what they either wanted in the past or they would want now. But I think some of you are you're just very much aware that you would never allow yourself to stoop to that level, or to bend, or to fold, or to live in some sort of delusion with them. You know, you want them to see the error in their ways, and you want to have healthy compromise. You don't want to be the one that's just kind of bending and folding. So yeah, that's what they're feeling. In terms of why things fell apart, or why they did the things that they did the things that they did because, like most human beings, they were trying to meet their own emotional needs. Now, people who are healthy, or they have like a healthy mental state, a healthy emotional state, a healthy psyche, they meet their emotional needs in a healthy way. We have the need for companionship. So if we're healthy, we go out and we make healthy connections. We make healthy friendships and things of that sort, healthy relationships, right? But if someone is kind of off balance emotionally, or they've been through a lot of things in their life, like I feel like this person has, they try to get their emotional needs met in a very chaotic way. They're trying to find peace through chaos, and that usually never works out. So, for example, meeting someone and deceiving them into a relationship because they don't feel good about themselves internally, because they have an inferiority complex and they feel like they have to create a persona for people to like them. That's getting your needs met in a very chaotic way, because there's only so long you can keep that mask on, There's only so long you can hide who you actually are. So that's what I mean when I say that people who just they have not had a healthy upbringing, or they've been through a lot in their life. They try to get their needs met in very chaotic ways. They're looking for peace through chaos, and they don't understand they're taking the long route. They don't understand. So that's what they were pretty much trying to do, trying to find peace and harmony, but they were taking the extremely dysfunctional route to get there. Okay. So I feel like overall, this person and you definitely experienced some very hectic lessons through each other, especially with the transformation card coming up. Very hectic lessons through each other that you're still having a hard time, like the same way that you're having a hard time fighting through the feelings or fighting through what happened. I feel like they are as well, because I feel like the universe is not letting them just move forward, even if it appears that way. So one of the main reasons why you could be stuck and you're like confused and seeking clarity, you're picking up on their energy where they're also stuck. It's like a mutual sort of stuck in the mind sort of thing. I feel like the universe is not going to let them just move on from this and just not analyze, what took place. Whew, okay. Let me see. Yeah, I'm going to, that's all the messages for this reading. I'm going to extend this. Basically, in the extended, I'm going to clarify all the cards that I pulled. So we'll just be getting like very in-depth into all the messages. Like I said, I will extend this, and I'll leave the link in the description box. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys over on my extended video.